What's going on, y'all? 5 Sports Talk back at it with another video talking some NBA. And I'm sure everybody knows the NBA is a star-driven league, but there are a lot of guys that we don't mention. We are always talking about the LeBrons, the Currys, the KDs, the Westbrooks, the Hardens, and so on and so forth. But again, for good reasons, because they are the stars. But there are a lot of guys in the NBA we don't talk about for whatever reason, and I will mention the reasons. And they are stars, but we don't talk about them. They are the underrated players that go, like I mentioned, under the radar. And I'm here to give you guys 5 guys that I believe are the most underrated players in the NBA and definitely need to get more recognition. They are starting to get a little bit, but they should be getting way more than they are getting right now because they are stars. So without further ado, let's get started. The top 5 underrated players in the NBA. At number 5, I have Rudy Gobert, and the only reason Rudy Gobert does not get any credit or respect or is recognized is because he plays on the Utah Jazz. And I know the casual fan does not watch the Utah Jazz. The only people that watch the Utah Jazz are Utah Jazz fans and anybody that lives around that area. And it makes sense. But listen, Rudy Gobert needs to get way more respect than he does now because he is one of the quality centers in the NBA, just averaging around 13 points, 12.5 rebounds, and a couple blocks a game. Rudy Gobert is an anchor down low, and he is the main reason the Jazz are as good of a defensive team as they are. I thought Rudy Gobert should have made the All-Star team. I thought he got snubbed. He's definitely having a career year, and like I mentioned, he's definitely one of the only bigs that I can say is a very, very good defensive big, and he's a walking double-double. And like I mentioned with Rudy Gobert, the reason why he's not recognized is because he plays on the Jazz, but that does not take away from the fact that he should. And I think he definitely deserves more respect with the lack of good centers in the NBA. Rudy Gobert should be mentioned more when talking about one of the best quality bigs in the league right now. At number 4, I have Kemba Walker of the Charlotte Hornets. Look, Kemba Walker would have been higher on this list, but he did make his first All-Star team this year. He was named a reserve for the East All-Star team, which I predicted, and he definitely 110% deserves it, averaging just around 23 points per game, which is a career high, 4.5 rebounds, and about 5.5 assists. Kemba Walker is having a monster year, and he is the reason the Hornets are in the thick of the playoff race and will probably make the playoffs because of Kemba Walker. He's one of the best ball handlers, great off the dribble, incredible shooter. I think he's one of the best create your shot type players without taking himself out of the flow of the offense. He's not an iso ball type of guy always, and so that's what I like about Kemba Walker. But more importantly, Kemba Walker is the heart and soul of that Hornets team. They go as he goes. He's a fiery guy. He's one of the best guards, and he needs to be mentioned as one of the best guards in the East alongside John Wall, Kyrie Irving, and all those other guys. So Kemba Walker consistently gets underrated. He probably should have made another All-Star team by now, but you know what? Better late than never. So shout out Kemba Walker. At number 3, Gordon Hayward, another guy that would have been higher on the list, but he was also named an All-Star reserve, so he is starting to get that recognition he deserves. Look, Gordon Hayward's just a solid all-around player. That's just no other way for me to put it. He's just a solid guy, 22 points per game, just around 5.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He does it all for the Jazz. He's their Swiss Army knife. Basically, whenever they need a bucket, they go to him. He's a big shot maker. And like I mentioned, he is one of the best, to me, fits on his team and in terms of being a leader, because he does not sort of impose his will on the team. He sort of lets all the guys play around him, and he plays within the flow of the system while still being a very, very good player. He's a very good shooter. He's a very good off-the-ball shooter, and he's just a solid all-around player. So Gordon Hayward just consistently gets underrated in the talks of small forwards when we talk about guys like LeBron, Melo, Paul George, and all these guys. And if you put up the numbers, Gordon Hayward's up there. He's probably better than a lot of the guys that we usually mention, and he needs to start getting that respect. Making the All-Star team was good, but I predict big things for Gordon Hayward in the future. At number 2, if you haven't watched him, you need to watch this guy, Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, another player who I think does not get the recognition he deserves because of the team he plays on, the Nuggets. A lot of people don't watch them, definitely not the casual fan outside of Denver fans. And Nikola Jokic is a walking highlight reel, okay? The only reason he wasn't talked about before in the year was because his coach did not know how to use him. He was not getting the proper minutes. But Jokic is a monster, averaging just around 15.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 4 assists. This guy is an incredible passer for a big man. You need to watch Nikola Jokic. Look up some of his highlights. He has been making a name for himself this season, and he's having a breakout year. He's a good defender as well, averaging just around a steal and a block a game. And the Nuggets need to just drop everything and build around this guy because he is the truth. I love Nikola Jokic, and we talk a lot about guys like Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis as one of the quality young bigs in the league, not to mention Rudy Gobert. And Jokic needs to be mentioned as well. He has got a bright future. And at number 1, he is finally starting to get that recognition. He's becoming that household name, and deservedly so. Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics. Have you ever seen, wait, I know what you're going to say, Allen Iverson, but have you ever seen a guy like this, 5'9", doing what he does? AI was about 5'11", I think just about 6 feet. So Isaiah Thomas is shorter than him. But doesn't he remind you of Allen Iverson with the scoring? I think actually I looked up the numbers the other day, but his efficiency is actually better than AI's, and it's kind of crazy. He is second in the league in scoring, just around 30 points per game, right behind Russell Westbrook. He is leading the NBA in fourth quarter scoring every time the Celtics need a bucket. They get it from Mr. King in the fourth, Isaiah Thomas. And like I mentioned, it's time to put him up in the circles with not just one of the best guards, but one of the best players in the NBA, okay? He needs to get MVP consideration because the Celtics are now second in the East, and Isaiah Thomas has saved their you-know-what so many times, and they are the reason, he is the reason that they are in the second seed. Yes, I know he's a poor defender, definitely needs to work on that. His size does hurt him there, but you know what? He does a lot of things for his size, so it's hard to complain when you're talking about Isaiah Thomas. This guy is a real deal, and I don't know who saw this coming, man. 60th pick, last player taken. He got traded to multiple times. The Celtics are just lucky that they were able to acquire him, and he sort of fell in their lap from the basketball gods. And shout out to the Boston Celtics because you guys have a great piece in Isaiah Thomas, and I am just in awe of what I'm seeing here. He's an incredible player. The way he scores the ball is so effortless. Wow. So Isaiah Thomas, easily the most underrated player in the NBA, finally starting to get that recognition. I am guessing he will not be underrated any longer just because his play has been incredible. So let me know what you guys think. Those are my 5 most underrated players in the NBA. If I left anybody, please leave a comment down below, or if you disagree as well. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.